This is Tumani Kamar, and it's time to open up the briefcase with Case Holdahl.
Greetings, Blazer fans, and welcome to The Briefcase, episode 96 of The Briefcase. I am your host, Case Holdahl, and with the draft lottery now decided, with the combine now over, the Trailblazers and the rest of the NBA turns their attention, at least if you're not playing in the conference finals, to the NBA draft, where pre-draft workouts are starting all across the country in practice facilities all across the NBA. The Portland Trailblazers had their first pre-draft workout on Thursday, inviting 6 players to the practice facility to show the Trailblazers what they can do in hopes of getting drafted at the end of June at the 2024 NBA draft. We'll discuss that first draft workout in Portland, hear from 2 of the participants at that draft workout, both of whom are expected to be drafted at the 2024 NBA draft, look at who the Trailblazers are taking in yet another mock draft, and quickly consider the first few games of the conference finals on this edition of The Briefcase. A little more than a month after their season ended, the Trailblazers begin their pre-draft process, or at least get into the thick of their pre-draft process, by having 6 players come through the practice facility on Thursday morning. Raekwon Battle, a 6'5", 23-year-old wing out of West Virginia, Adem Bona, a 6'9", 21-year-old big out of UCLA, Arthur Kaluma, a 6'7", 22-year-old forward out of Kansas State, Ugonna Onyenso, a 6'11", 19-year-old big out of Kentucky, Will Richard, a 6'5", 21-year-old wing out of Florida, and Jaylen Tyson, a 6'7", 21-year-old wing out of Cal, all came through the practice facility on Thursday in hopes of catching the eyes of Portland's decision makers with hopes of getting drafted somewhere in the 2024 NBA draft. Now, these 6 players who came through, about half of them are expected to not get drafted, though 3 of them are ranked in the top 60 of ESPN's player rankings for players coming into the draft this season. Adem Bona is ranked 40th by ESPN, Ugonna Onyenso is ranked 68th by ESPN, and Jaylen Tyson is ranked 33rd by ESPN. So Adem Bona and Jaylen Tyson both expected to get drafted somewhere in the second round, though I think this is the kind of draft too where if you're a second round to undrafted guy, if you come in, have a few good workouts, get a little buzz going, you could very easily work your way into that second round. And heck, in this draft, maybe you can get your way into the first round as well. There's no consensus. I don't think there's probably a whole lot of difference, or at least I don't know that teams figure there's a whole lot of difference between players that are going around 20, 25 all the way through the middle of the second round. So if you come in, show some skills that the team needs, present yourself well, both on and off the court. The off-court part is an important part of these workouts as well. You could very well find yourself getting one of the 58 spots in this draft. And I think that's what the players coming through Portland in the first workout are hoping for. And as far as the team is concerned, when it comes to workouts, basically, they want to see, one, are you able to bring the kind of skills, show the things that you did well in college? Are you able to show that you've maybe improved on some of the things that you didn't do so well in college or internationally? Are you able to play a team brand of basketball in a workout setting where in some ways you're trying to show the best of what you can do, but you also have to balance that with being a good teammate with the guys you're playing with in these workouts? That's something the team obviously pays a lot of attention to. A lot of times the way they run some of these workouts too, particularly when you're talking about second round guys, and actually even first round guys, a lot of times there's maybe 1 or 2 players I think the team is really interested in, and then they bring in other players who they think are going to challenge some of the deficiencies that those players might have. So if you're, let's say, a guard who is a good 3-point shooter, but is a little bit of a sketchy ball handler, they're probably going to bring in a player to go up against you who is a dog defensively and who is really going to challenge your handle. So a lot of times these workouts are about seeing what have they seen on tape, and are you able to show that maybe the things that you do well, you're still able to do well, even when you're going up against someone who is specifically there to shut down that thing you do well. And are the things that you maybe need to work on, have you shown growth in those things since the end of your last season? It's also important for the team to see how well players can be coached, how well they take coaching, how well they understand terminology. And then off the court, particularly for players that the team is maybe more interested in, they want to spend a little more time with off the court, it's really about showing who you are as a person. How do you deal with adversity? How do you get along in a basketball setting? Do people like being around you? Are you difficult to be around? Because you can have all the skills in the world, but if you're a guy that no one wants to deal with, it's going to make it pretty hard to thrive in a team setting. So really, throughout the course of these workouts, and they're going to have probably a whole lot of them, particularly with 4 picks, they're really trying to get a broad sense of who you are as a player and a person. Workouts are really important. They're not the end-all be-all. If a player comes in and doesn't play particularly well in a workout, that doesn't necessarily mean that player isn't going to get drafted. For example, Greg Oden supposedly had a terrible workout with the Portland Trailblazers, while Kevin Durant had a phenomenal workout with the Trailblazers. Team still ended up going with Greg Oden. We all know how that went. But this is really your best chance, particularly for guys who are trying to maybe move up in the draft, to show what you can do in front of teams. And if you come in and have a bad workout, it's just a little bit harder to feel that way. But teams also recognize, too, that these guys are going from city to city to city, as you're going to hear a lot of these guys going a different town every single day, having multiple workouts on some days. It's a very difficult process for players. So you have to bake that in as well. You have to understand, too, that if you're getting a guy who's in his 5th workout in 6 days, you maybe can't necessarily assume that that's what his performance is going to be like in the NBA, though there are quite a few games in the NBA as well. So they are probably also paying a little bit of attention to how you deal with that kind of adversity, knowing that the scheduling in the NBA, not the same as the scheduling in college or internationally. So having said all that, let's go ahead and hear from 2 players who were in Portland for workouts on Thursday. First, Adem Bona, a 6'9", 21-year-old big out of UCLA. Bona started 65 games over 2 seasons at UCLA and averaged 12.4 points on 58% shooting from the field, 5.9 rebounds, 1.8 blocks, 1.2 assists, and 1.1 steals in 26.5 minutes per game this season for the Bruins. Bona is a big body, could probably play both center and power forward, but without a 3-point shot, he only took 1 attempt during his 2 years at UCLA. Playing 4 in today's modern NBA might be a little bit difficult. Very possibly he's able to develop a 3-point shot. You don't have to be a knockdown shooter as a big, just someone who actually is going to make teams think a little bit if they leave you open in the corner. But his game right now probably projects as an NBA center, particularly in today's smaller NBA, though I think we're seeing more and more that some of those center positions, they're starting to bulk up a bit more than we were accustomed to seeing the last couple of years, and that's just the NBA. It goes in ebbs and flows. Something works, a lot of teams do it. Teams start making decisions to try to negate those things that work well, and then things flow back the other direction. It goes that way with international prospects too. Sometimes it's basically no international prospects, but we're in a wave right now where there are considerable international prospects. Once again, that's just the ebbs and flows of the NBA. But back to Bona specifically, ESPN Mock Draft has Bona being taken by the Memphis Grizzlies with the 39th pick, which incidentally is 1 pick before Portland's 4th and final pick at 40. So let's go and hear what Adem Bona had to say about his workout in Portland, his skills, what he's working on, and what he's hoping for through this pre-draft process.
Adem, well, first off, how would you say the workout went for you?
I say it went great. Great energy. The coaches were full of energy too. They were getting us going. The guy were going. I'm all about the energy, and everyone brought the energy today. So I would say it's amazing.
What are some of the things maybe you're looking to show teams that you can do? Not only what you have, but maybe things you've improved upon as well.
Like my last year in college, I played the completely opposite way. I wanted to play. I will be playing in the pros, so I just want to show teams the things I've improved on since the college season is over, and working on my game, shooting. Be able to play off pick and roll from the top, to be able to show my ability, my speed, and my strength, and my agility. So those are the things I want to show teams.
And you feel like you were able to do that today?
Yeah, I feel like I was able to do that today. Yeah.
In stage, what kind of feedback do you get from teams at the Combine?
At the Combine, I only interview with a few teams. Out there, the first day was kind of a little shaky for me, but the second day I kind of picked it up. So I feel like I got good feedbacks. I did most of the teams I wanted to show out there, and the teams also wanted to see from me. So I would say that was good for me.
Adem, how hard is it to in these kind of workouts to showcase everything you want to showcase as a big? Because a lot of times guards and wings, they get to be more on ball in workouts. You got a lot of post-up opportunities at UCLA. So kind of how do you try to maximize your opportunities and your chances in workouts like this?
Yeah, it's kind of tough because like the boys dominant with the guards, but at the same time you gotta do the little things that's off the ball. Because as a big, you don't need the ball to be good. Set the screens well, call out the plays, call out the screens, make a good pick and roll coverage defense. Like those are off the ball stuff you can do as a big. You don't need the ball in your hands. So I just focus on doing those little things really well, and eventually the ball is gonna come to you and you do what you can do with the ball.
Do you know where else you're planning on working out?
Yeah, I got a couple workouts set up. I think I have a workout tomorrow with Utah, so that's my nearest workout. But I got a couple more set up after that.
And who's your representation?
My agency, I'm with Rock Nation.
Then,
Blazers are a pretty young team, trying to build. Is there anything that's kind of attractive about kind of joining, a young crew like that the Blazers would have?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of assignments come from there, regardless whatever the age gap is for whatever team. But especially with a young team, I played with a young team last year at UCLA, so I know what it feels like. And with young teams, there's a lot of excitement and energy, and I believe I bring that a lot to the table. And I'm going to fit well with the young guys, and we can roll together.
You did just kind of mention it, but what do you feel like you did at UCLA that's helping you through this process or helping you get to the NBA now?
I believe I played for one of the toughest coach in college, Mick Cronin. He's a pretty disciplined coach. I love the discipline about him. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to play for him. I think playing for Mick Cronin set me up for this process, because this process needs a lot of discipline to be able to show up every day to work out for different teams, to travel to different cities. I believe that set me up well for processes like this.
And how would you say the workout went, not just for you, but just for the entire group? So like kind of the effort, the intensity of it.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good group here. I have some guys I've played against in college, some guys I played against in high school over here. So it's fun to see familiar faces again. But in general, I think we had a pretty good workout. We had fun for sure. If you were there, you heard we were loud and everything. I think that's a good sign of a good workout.
Yeah.
So there you go, Adem Bona discussing his workout in Portland. He strikes me as one of those kind of guys where, again, you get him in a couple of workouts, kind of see what he does physically. Perhaps he's able to move himself up a little bit in the draft. And that's really not even specifically about Adem Bona. I just think that's really a comment about this draft. It's just wide open. If you're able to come in and perform well, much like having a good tournament run will sometimes get you into the first round, as I think we've seen many of the guys in the first round could probably say, having a good run in workouts, particularly if you're a second round guy, could move you up, maybe even to the end of the first round. Who's to say? All right, now let's go ahead and from Jaylen Thompson, a 6'7", 21-year-old wing out of California, the most highly ranked of the 6 players who came through Portland on Thursday. Jaylen Tyson started his college career as a freshman at Texas, went to Texas Tech his sophomore season, then college junior year, where he averaged 19.6 points on 47% shooting from the field and 36% shooting from three, 6.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 1.2 steals in 34.4 minutes for the Golden Bears. A big ball handler, a guy who could probably give you minutes at point guard, shooting guard, and small forward, kind of like a better shooting Evan Turner. I think there's probably some Jaime Jaquez to his game as well. They both have long hair, both played at California schools. Maybe that's where that's coming from. But again, both guys who are decent size, can handle the ball, can shoot at a pretty good clip, can finish at the rim, kind of do everything guard forward. As I mentioned, as the highest ranked player at that workout, ESPN's most recent mock draft has Tyson going to the Jazz with a 32nd pick, which, again, incidentally, is 2 spots before the Blazers make their first pick of the second round at 34. So let's go ahead and hear what Jaylen Tyson had to say about his workout in Portland, his personality, and what he's hoping to get out of this process.
I mean, it was a fun experience for sure. It's an experience of a lifetime.
Jaylen, just being in the first workout, often rookies outside like top 3, top 4 don't get to kind of showcase everything in that rookie season. What did the team kind of ask from you as far as, or what did you try to show at least to keep you on the floor quick?
That I play hard, that I can play defense, I can rebound, I can make players, my teammates around me better and hit open shots. So that was the biggest thing coming in here, But ultimately just playing hard, that was the biggest thing for me.
What kind of feedback did you get from teams at the Combine?
Feedback was they loved my personality. Obviously, I didn't play at the Combine, so not too much feedback basketball-wise, but just keep showing my personality and showing people who I am.
Portland's a team that needs, a lot of shooting, where you're trying to put that on display, kind of see what you can do from, the field and from three-point line.
That's what I'm saying. I've been working on my shooting since the season was over at Cal. That's a big thing in the NBA, right? Hitting shots. I mean, that's a huge thing outside of defense and playing hard. But, yeah, definitely be able to shoot the ball well.
What was it like for you, at Cal? Obviously a program that's still trying to build. Blazers are kind of in a similar thing, trying to build. I mean, what kind of lessons did you take from Cal?
That it's a process, that there's going to be adversity on the way. You're not going to experience the fruits of your labor immediately. You got to work and work and work, and that's the biggest things I learned from Cal. It's a process, and I want to be a part of a process too, to be able to grow something and continue a legacy of mine.
Do you have a schedule yet for where you plan on working out and the place you have worked out already?
So this was my first workout, but I do have a schedule. I don't know about hard, but I do have a schedule here. So.
Do you know some of the teams that?
Yeah. So I got New Orleans tomorrow. Then I got Phoenix, Toronto, I have a lot of like 10, I think. So yeah, it's a long ways ahead of me.
How have you prepared yourself for that?
I'm just working hard, you know. I work in everybody. Getting the best shape of my life. That was the biggest thing. Just come out here and just shoot the mess out of the ball.
Who did you like presentation?
I'm with Al Harrington. Al Harrington, yes.
How much do you, during this whole process, especially a year like this where there's really no consensus about who's going where outside of maybe like a top couple guys, how much do you actually pay attention to like the mock draft and where different people have you going, all this stuff? Are you able to tune that stuff out, or is that stuff that you actually do pay attention to?
It's something we pay attention to. It's all over social media, you know, but I try to get the real feedback from my agent and my trainer and try to get the real feedback from teams, because sometimes the media is persuasive in a way where what they want to see, right? But, you know, I just try to get feedback and try to just correct those areas every time.
You said you want to show teams who you are. So who are you?
I'm super personable. You know, I can make all y'all laugh right now if you ask me a question. See right there. But I could just light up a room, you know. Obviously, we're in a professional setting right now, so I'm not going to do that today. But yeah, but later down the line, maybe we could definitely show that. But, you know, I'm just a personable person and somebody that everybody loves to be around, an everyday guy.
What about on the court?
On the court, man, I'm just somebody that I want everybody to play with, you know. I want to be that teammate that I want to play with. That's the biggest thing. So whether that's getting people the shots in the spots or that's just playing the hardest, you know, it's different aspects of the game that I can help others around me.
I know it's your first workout, but how would you say kind of the intensity and the nature of the workout was for you and for the rest of the guys?
For sure. I mean, it was an intense workout. This is just the highest of levels that you can get to, you know. All of us came in here with different motives. Everybody has different motives in their mind, different ideas of how they want to work out, you know. So it was definitely a high-energy workout, and I feel like we got something out of it today.
So there you go, Jaylen Tyson after his workout in Portland. Once again, I'm expecting quite a few players are going to come through Portland in the next month before we get to the NBA draft at the end of June. Since a lot of the top players are international, I think the international season has to get over before some of those guys can get to the States here to start workouts. So that might put off some of those first round workouts a little bit. But with 2 picks in the second round, a G League team, and a Summer League roster to fill out, I'm guessing they're going to have quite a few guys come through town, even if they're not necessarily guys who are going to end up getting drafted. I'm also curious if there's going to be any solo workouts for the Trailblazers this year. 7 is that's a little high, particularly in this draft for the solo workout guys. A lot of times, if you're a top 5 guy, you can come and say, hey, I don't want to work out against anyone else. Teams obviously grant that. When you're picking at 7 and 14, particularly in this draft, I think you probably want to see these guys up against other guys because everyone has questions about their game. I mean, every player has questions about their game, but in this draft, probably some more questions than you would typically have about first-round guys. So I'm really curious how that's going to shake out for the Trailblazers with 2 first-round picks at 7 and 14. No set schedule for when those workouts take place, at least as far as I know. The team probably knows, actually, but I don't know what it is. But I'm guessing probably a couple of every week until we get to the draft, which will take place at the Barclays Center, at least the first round this year, since the second round is happening somewhere in Jersey, on June 26th. All right, checking in another mock draft as we're going to do for the next month as we get close to the 2024 NBA draft. Today we check out Krysten Peek at Yahoo Sports and who she has the Trailblazers taking with the 7th, 14th, 34th, and 40th picks. At 7th, Peek has the Trailblazers selecting Ron Holland, a 6'8", 206-pound guard forward with a G League Ignite. Peek writes, Holland with a high-volume scorer on a struggling Ignite team, but teams might look past his score-first instincts with a lack of playmakers on the team this year. He's one of the best defensive forwards in this class, averaging 2.3 steals per game. And then with the 14th pick, Peek has the Trailblazers selecting Yves Missy, a 7-foot, 230-pound freshman out of Baylor. He's a center if the 7-foot part doesn't go without saying. Peek writes, Missy's combination of size, rim protection, and great hands could see him sneak into the lottery during the pre-draft process while working out individually for teams. He averaged 10.7 points and 5.6 rebounds in 23 minutes for Baylor during his freshman year. Then at 34, Peek has the Trailblazers selecting Kevin McCullar Jr., a 6'7", 212-pound senior guard out of Kansas. And at 40, she has Trailblazers selecting Hunter Salas, a 6'5", 180-pound junior guard out of Wake Forest. This is also a good time to remind you the Trailblazers are hosting a draft party this year presented by Ticketmaster, which will be on June 26th at 5 p.m. at Moda Center. It's a free event, but we're asking you to sign up to get free tickets at trailblazers.com/draft. Once again, Trailblazers Draft Party, presented by Ticketmaster, June 26th, 5 p.m., Moda Center, trailblazers.com/draft to register. See you there. All right, real quick, there's still 4 teams competing in the NBA playoffs. As I would certainly hope you know, it's been a pretty good postseason so far. First game of the Western Conference Finals was great. 5-seed Dallas Mavericks take game 1 versus the 3-seed Timberwolves 108-103 to steal home court. And Edwards made the mistake of saying he wanted to check Kyrie after they got past the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie goes out, says he took a little bit of offense to that, put up 30 points on better than 50% shooting, did his damage in the first half. Luka Doncic takes over in the second half, 33 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block to close the game out. Game 2 is Friday, 5:30 on TNT. Timberwolves have shown that they are able to win on their opponent's home court during these playoffs. So even if they don't win Game 2, I don't think that means the series is over. And I don't think Dallas is all that great of a home court advantage, so I don't think that really carries them a whole lot. But if you go down 2-0, when you have home court, things probably start getting a little bit tight. I think the Mavs are a better team. I think I trust them more than I trust the Timberwolves. Luka has obviously been in huge competitions, both internationally and here in the States. Kyrie Irving has won championships. I don't really know who on that Timberwolves team guys look to when things get hard. I think it's Ant Edwards, but he's still pretty young. Not getting as much out of Karl Anthony Towns as you would probably like. A lot of people have picked the Mavs as a dark horse finals contender from the start. I didn't really buy it at the beginning of the postseason. I believe it now. I think they are going to end up winning that series, but that's easy enough to say after the team wins the first game by stealing home court. Either way, Game 2 is Friday, 5:30 on TNT. I bet it's going to be a good one. Check it out. Then kind of the opposite of that in the Eastern Conference, the 1-seed Boston Celtics up 2-0 on the 6-seed Indiana Pacers. Pacers, a very good Game 1, almost win it. Jaylen Brown hits a corner 3, though, to send the game to overtime where the Celtics come out on top 133-128. You might recall I said in the last podcast that the Celtics sing at home for a week, going up against a Pacers team that just had to gut out a 7-game series. Might be able to jump on the Celtics because of that. I think we saw that they were able to do that in Game 1, but they weren't able to take advantage to close it out. It's probably not necessarily fair to say that that was the end of the series for the Pacers, but having done this for a while, kind of knowing how things play out, knowing a team's mentality when you have a chance to win a big game and you don't, particularly the way that the Pacers have had to grind through the postseason, I think losing that game basically finished them off for the rest of the Eastern Conference Finals. They come out in Game 2 and do exactly what you expect, get thumped pretty badly, 126-110, in a game that never really felt like the Pacers were going to win. Jaylen Brown put up 40 points in that game as well. And now the Pacers, who made the conference finals in large part due to their opponents being woefully injured, might be without Tyrese Halliburton, who left the game early with a left hamstring injury. As I mentioned, I think the Pacers are already probably kind of cooked because of the Game 1 anyways. But without Halliburton, they're full-on done, wrapped up, sealed, while the Celtics get what might be the easiest path to the finals in NBA history. That's not a knock, folks. That's just a fact. Well, I guess I can't say a fact. It's not a knock. That's just the reality of the situation. Game 3 in that series is 5:30 Saturday on ABC. Obviously, if the Celtics win that one, the series is over. They get to rest and watch while the Mavericks and the Timberwolves beat the crap out of each other for the next week and a half. And that's going to do it for this edition of The Briefcase. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, new editions next week. I think the plan is probably going to be every time the team has a workout, going to try to get out a new edition for you within the 24 hours after that workout. Hopefully a little faster next time, though, folks. I appreciate you listening. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. I'll be at every single pre-draft workout, up-to-date information about what's going on in Tualatin as Trailblazers prepare to make 4 picks at the 2024 NBA Draft. Once again, thank you for joining me as always. I am Case Holdahl. Go Blazers.